Foreclosures are a big focal point of a lot of real estate investing here in the state of Florida. Because remember, we're looking for potentially motivated sellers, and motivation is created when a homeowner is facing foreclosure. So, in order to market to those homeowners, in order to work pre-foreclosures as a real estate investor, you have to understand the basic process of a foreclosure. So here's the basic process. First, when a homeowner stops making payments, and they're not making payments to the bank, remember, they're making payments to the mortgage servicing company. That's the company that is in charge of their mortgage, that is managing that mortgage with payments or non-payment. When they stop making payments after 3 months, that is the prescribed amount of time that most mortgage servicing companies will then contact their legal department to go ahead and file and issue a foreclosure lawsuit in the county that the property resides. If that homeowner bought that property in Fort Lauderdale, but then moved to New York, stopped making payments, and now they're being hit with a foreclosure lawsuit, they're not going to get with the foreclosure lawsuit filed in New York. That's going to be filed if the property's in Fort Lauderdale in Broward County. It's in the county in which the property resides. The next thing is that the homeowner is going to receive a summons. That summons includes the complaint that when they took out the loan, when they stopped making payments, while the foreclosure lawsuit is being filed. And that's going to come in the form of a summons, which the homeowner has 20 days to answer. Now, the court's going to send a process server. It's usually a third-party company that's going to come and knock on the homeowner's door. And at some point in time, they will either serve them physically or they'll serve them electronically. But at some point when they do get served, that's when the foreclosure case is going to start moving forward. And it's important for homeowners to try to answer that summons within that first 20 days, because the sooner that they can answer that and try to put up some type of defenses, it will allow them to postpone time. Now, a foreclosure case depends on a lot of different factors as far as how long the foreclosure takes. But what we look at in most foreclosures is about a 12-month process, meaning from the time that they stop making payments and the foreclosure lawsuit is filed to the time that they get a foreclosure sale date. It's going to be about 12 months. Somewhere along that timeline, there's going to be what's called either a case management hearing or a non-jury trial, some type of hearing, or sometimes it's also a mediation. And that's when the courts start to get more involved, saying, hey, it's been 6 months since this foreclosure lawsuit was filed. There hasn't been anything that's been filed in regards to them getting a loan modification or paying off their loan to dismiss the case. So then the courts will intervene eventually to say, okay, we need to bring plaintiff and defendant together and figure out what's going on here. Are they going to do a workout program? Are they going to do a loan modification and try to keep the home? Or are they going to have to sell the home? Or eventually they're going to set a sale date if the homeowner doesn't sell the house, and that property is going to go to a foreclosure sale. And that's what we call final judgment. So when we have, sometimes it's also labeled summary final judgment, and that's at the very end. And that's because, there's been no loan modification or workout program. And the courts, basically, the judge has said, okay, nothing has worked out here. This case has been going on for a year. The defendant hasn't put up any other defenses or reasons why they shouldn't be in foreclosure. Proof that they had made payments the entire time, which that almost never happens. So they will eventually then set a sale date. So when there's final summary judgment, that means, okay, your property is going to be sold at the public auction on this date at this time to the highest bidder. And you can actually read these documents in the clerk of courts. So like I said, in the county that the foreclosure resides, that's where you're able to go to see all of these different documentations and see the progress of that foreclosure case from beginning to end. And when you see the final judgment, usually the case will say closed. So don't let that fool you. That doesn't mean the foreclosure went away. They just set it to closed because there's a sale date that's coming up in the next 30, 60, or 90 days. That's usually no more than 90 days out. And that's the final judgment. And if the property goes to a foreclosure sale, then that means that homeowner unfortunately will now have a foreclosure on their record. If they were able to work something out, like doing a loan modification, or investors like us come in to either pay off the mortgage, or we do a short sale if they don't have equity, then that case is going to be dismissed once we pay off their mortgage, and we will get them out of foreclosure so they won't have a foreclosure on their record. So that's the basic and general process of the foreclosure that you need to educate yourself on when you're going to be marketing to pre-foreclosures to find motivated sellers.